Alright, so basically what we're doing today is heading down to Idaho. And it's about like 4 o'clock, 4:30. And our flight leaves about 6:40. And what we're going to do is we're going to meet Chandler. This guy's a YouTuber.
Flight 34, sir, to Fresno in the final stages of boarding. If you want to board test for this flight, please make way gate A23 departure.
Like I was saying, Chandler is a YouTuber. He's 29 years old. He has about $10 million worth of commercial real estate. He generates about $100,000 a month in passive income. And we're gonna go down, check him out, and we're gonna see exactly how did he build his real estate portfolio. It's too cold for this shit, bro. Alright. We got a problem. It is cold as hell. I mean, take a look at this. Ah. What do you say, Utah plates?
Yeah, that's Utah plates over there. Don't keep backed up. Right there.
I know, but let me see here. Yeah! Yeah! Oh shit! Oh, it is cold, dude. It is like super cold. My hands are freezing. Oh, now I gotta call my wife. Oh, this is like frozen shut. Woo! Is woo! Damn it! Look what I just did. Oh, Rudy! 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 Oh shit! I'm such an idiot. Should've listened to you, babe. Hey, who gonna scrape that? Oh, it's nice and toasty up in here. Oh, you know what I realized? It's not even time to check in on. It's about 8:30 right now, and we are on the way to go meet Chandler. Oh yeah, and I had meatloaf. I'm gonna show you guys how beautiful this place is with the snow and everything.
Have a good day, folks.
You too.
Thank you.
Here's the breakfast area, dinner area. Oh, I already can feel the cold. Bam! It just hits you. Oh, I already got. Yeah, we gotta get out of here. Oh, I already got water on my shoe. All right, let's try this again. Woo! Good thing I got the thermals and all that. Oh, look at that. One thing I know is if I lived here, I definitely need a heating steering wheel.
Oh yeah.
Cause this steering wheel is cold, dude. Let me tell you. How cold is it right now, Rudy?
20 degrees. Oh my bad, 21 degrees.
Woohoo! Ugh. Oh shit! Woo! Look how beautiful it is. Man, look. Man, I almost bust my ass. Hey, we're gonna sneak up and check out Chandler. Woo! Look how beautiful this is. Isn't this thing gorgeous? Look at that.
I don't know how much you know about all that I do, but I made my money through door-to-door sales.
I think you generated, what, 100 something million or something? revenue?
So we did over 15 million in revenue this year. Yeah. And it's funny though, because I started as a door-to-door salesman,
Which
made
is
100
great.
grand. Similar situation with you where like I had nothing. I was mooching off my parents. And so that kind of got me into door-to-door sales. And then we kind of just grew it from there. I had a team and then a couple teams of guys, and then I got really good at training and mentoring and hiring. And so that kind of grew to where, this year we had, a couple hundred sales reps. This upcoming year, we've got over 500 guys that are planning on coming out.
So is this a company that you work for, or is it a company that you own?
So the best way to think of it is, I'm a regional sales manager for the company, but I just run sales for my people. Okay. So anything sales related, I handle. Anything service related, the company takes care of. And they're actually the 7th largest pest control company in the United States.
Oh, wow.
So they're a big deal, but I put on about 10% of the total revenue they bring in every year.
So that's where most of your money's coming from, and you took that to purchase real estate then, basically.
Exactly. Yep.
Gotcha.
So 8 years ago, I started investing in real estate, and I always had the rule I was only going to live and buy the fun stuff off of my passive income from the rental properties. Okay. So we lived, pretty frugally early on, and then as our passive income crept up, that kind of gave us the freedom to buy more. And it's funny because I was making a lot more with passive income. I started with a condo and then duplex and duplex and a fourplex, and then it scaled really quickly. Like the last 3 years especially, it's just blown up to where I'm making a ton of passive income, and our lifestyle is nowhere near to the money that was coming in. Yeah. Or at least was. But that's the other thing we could swing by is I'm building my dream home right now, and they just finished framing it. So
I've seen that.
It you could be the first guy to film it. It's got it doesn't have the roof on, but the whole structure.
It's all framed out.
Yep. So, and it'll be right around 18,000 square feet total. That's including garages and storage, but we're excited.
What's the cap rate over here?
Depends on who you are. So right now, you can sell at a 6. That would be, honestly, we've even seen some people lately buying in the 5s, which to me is insane. Yeah. The properties I buy are, 9, 10.
So you're buying in like D-class neighborhoods, C-class?
No. With what I do, it's not when I purchase them, they're 9 or 10. It's that I'll find, and this is kind of my niche, but I'll find properties that have been owned for 20 years by the same owner. They just haven't kept their rents up with where the market has gone, especially the last 3 to 5 years. And so I recognize there's a huge opportunity to just buy it and increase the rents. Now, I still add value to it, right? Like, we manage them a lot better. We're cleaning up the units. We're doing all kinds of stuff there. But the truth is, the majority of my value add is just because, someone owns a real estate business and they've been managing it poorly. They haven't been, getting out of it what it's worth. And a lot of these old owners, they're hilarious because they'll brag. They'll be like, oh, I've got a 40-person wait list. Like, we never have any vacancy. When you have a 40-person wait list, you got an issue because you do not have your rents where they need to be.
Yeah, correct.
And so we'll go in, we'll purchase them. In a couple months, we'll jack up rents because usually these older owners are going month to month and people are never leaving, right? And so we'll go in, we'll raise rents. We'll lose a small portion of tenants, but most tenants just know, like, they can't find anything better anywhere else. So that's been kind of my model. And all the money from sales goes into real estate, and then any of the money that comes from real estate, just the cash flow aspect, goes into my lifestyle.
And your toys.
The deals I'm finding where my cash flow is that extreme and consistently going up because we're still raising rents in some of the units that we've waited for them to leave. That is something that takes a lot of work, and you've got to really understand the market. And those are deals that even I right now, I'm like, man, they're hard to find. But when you find them, you got to do all the right stuff, and then you can close on them. But you're looking at a 7% cash on cash return, so 7% return on your money just buying off the market compared to a lot of these bigger units that I'm getting. They're 15 to 20% return on my money, and that's with a loan that isn't as nice. You're not
Yeah.
talking a 30-year fix. You're talking 20-year
carrier or something.
Yeah. And so to find deals like that, everyone, even in this market, comes and they're like, dude, how are you finding these? And there's a lot that goes into it to be able to get
No,
them.
I gotcha. So that tells me that you're really targeting off-market properties, and the way you're probably getting it is going through title escrow, kind of doing a farm, seeing who owns it free and clear, how long have they owned it. Then you're probably going through a system, you're pulling the addresses and the telephone numbers, and you're probably calling them directly, or also sending them a text, mailers. Then you're contacting them, and you're probably doing owner will carry, and you're building the relationships with them.
Yeah, we're doing all of that and
Yeah.
more. I think it's interesting because we found deals through that stuff,
Yeah.
for sure, and that's a great way to do it. But for me, and this is something that's a little harder to teach, I've come to find, but I also have relationships with half a dozen realtors,
Yeah.
with a bunch of wholesalers. I've pushed it on social media so everybody here knows, you know, Chandler's a good guy to sell to. He's a good guy to work with.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the deals I've had have come from those relationships where, you know, a realtor goes, they find an off-market property, they want to sell it quick. They know, hey, if the numbers work, I'm going to be able to sell it to Chandler, and it's going to be a very easy transaction.
So what's the minimum cap rate that you're looking at before somebody brings you a deal?
So for me, I don't look at a minimum cap rate. And the reason for that is your cap rate doesn't take everything into consideration.
You're absolutely right.
Especially
But
debt.
it is a start though, right?
It is a great start. The reason that I think people, especially right now, should step away from cap is interest rates are so low.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to buy at a lower cap if your cash on cash return is where it needs to be.
Yeah.
So, you know, to your question, I mean, I'm looking anywhere between 8 and 10, but my cap rate requirements have dropped because debt has become so cheap
Yes.
to where you can make the numbers work. And for me, that's the number that matters, is what return am I getting on the actual money I'm spending. So my cash on cash return requirement, I had lowered to 10%. Right now, I'm between 12 and 15. The only reason...
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
the only reason I'm holding a little higher
Uh-huh.
is I do believe there are going to be some good deals coming, and I don't want to look back and be like, oh, I should have waited. I spent a lot of money on a deal that was
Yeah.
good but not great.
Cool. And when did you actually start all this? Like, how old were you?
So I started knocking doors. I was like 2021.
Yeah.
And my first investment was a year after that.
Mm-hmm.
But that investment was a weird one because I lent someone money on a property.
Yeah.
They had a lot of equity in it. They had cash, but they didn't have good credit.
Yeah.
So I charged them a ton on the interest, and that was my first investment. Went great. Got my money back out of it in like a year or two. By that point, I had purchased a condo. And once I got the condo, once I saw... And it's funny, everyone's concern is, will I find tenants? Finding tenants is the easiest part. It's so easy to find tenants. And so once I found a tenant and I'm like, man, this process is very easy.
Yeah.
That's when I just decided I needed to be all in. So I was still living in an apartment. I was living super cheap, but I had a lot of money in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
And I just started pouring it into real estate. I got a duplex, and I think a fourplex all in that year. The next year I got a fourplex. I think that was when I got an eightplex. And I moved into getting a 24plex. I bought a bunch more duplexes and fourplexes in the process.
Mm-hmm.
Every step I would learn things and make little mistakes, but just being honest, I haven't made any big mistakes because the mistakes I've made haven't been, you know, the deals were so good that I could afford to make mistakes and still make great money.
So the more that you learn, what you're saying is you're minimizing the risk, basically.
Yeah, and that's the thing is you gotta jump and you gotta buy property, you gotta take some risk. But overall, I'm big about mitigating risk. I think what I do is the safest, smartest investment. You know, people say, "Oh, you've got all this risk," and it's like, what risk? You know?
Are you over analyzing deals?
I would say early on was I overanalyzing for sure. But now, no. I know exactly what my requirement is, and if it meets it, I buy it. On the 32plex, I looked at the numbers for 5 minutes, and I called him, and I said, at this price, this deal's done. Like, 100% on
Wow.
Because once you know the numbers, once you know the market, once you know where you can add value, you're just all in on it. Now, if I went and did an inspection and I found major issues, would I bail on it? 100%.
Yeah.
But there weren't any major issues. We went through our due diligence process. We made sure the rents are what we thought they were and that they could be what we thought they could be. And we did a full inspection of the property to make sure that the units were good. But you can look at a property and say, all right, this is the square footage. These are the bedrooms. These are the bathrooms. I know that if this is even mediocre, that I'm going to be able to rent it for this, and it's rented down here, it's a no-brainer deal. When I'm looking at properties, I had one property where we did everything, right? You're re-drilling concrete to put in new plumbing, you're adding electrical, you're adding walls, you're doing all of this. That deal, I went over budget by, I don't know, it was like 50 grand plus, okay? Because those are a lot harder to estimate, and I was new at it.
But you probably knew you were going to get that back in the long run anyway.
Yeah, I had set my budget for 50 grand. I knew we could spend 150 grand and be fine. So us spending 100 grand was fine. My point with that is I'm buying deals so good that number doesn't matter.
Yeah, you still got that cushion anyway.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
yeah. But with that being said, I still didn't like that project because I don't like spending more than I'm expecting. So all the projects I do, I'm looking at them and I'm saying I want to find a project where all I've got to do is paint, maybe change some fixtures, maybe change some countertops and change flooring. Yeah. And usually just paint and flooring. Yeah. And that way I'll call my guy up, I'll say this is our square footage. I've got a guy that gives me a better deal than anybody on nice flooring. And I've got a guy that's great on paint. And so on these renovations, and again, people give me a hard time because they're not really renovations. Yeah. You're talking maybe $5 grand for a unit that then you're going to take the rents from $450 up to $850. Yeah. And you spent $5 grand.
Now I want to go back to your 30-unit building. Your due diligence period. How long normally do you do your due diligence period for?
So I like to act quickly, and that is what gives me the ability to get incredible deals, because a lot of these people, they just want to be done with it. So if you go on the standard multifamily unit, people are taking 60, 90, 120 days to close on these. My big thing is I will be closed and out of here within 30 days, maybe even 20.
Okay, so how are you doing this within 20 to 30 days? This tells me when it comes to financing, you're not using traditional financing.
So whenever you're doing commercial loans, you need to do, or whenever you're doing 4 units or 5 units or more, you need to use a commercial loan. Correct. And so I'm still going through a bank. I'm doing a commercial loan on these properties, but I have a relationship with a local bank that not only gives me awesome interest rates and awesome setup, but they know when Chandler calls, we're going to be busy because we got to get this done in under 30 days, preferably 20. And on 4 units or less, my guy can close in 10 days. Yeah. So it's as good as cash. Oh, wow. So it's just that relationship where they know they've got to act quickly, and that's why I continue to use them. And is there someone else that could probably give me a little lower interest rates? Yeah, probably, but there's a ton of value in being the guy that can close in 30 days or less. So when you say, what's my due diligence period? My due diligence period, realistically, is probably 10 days. Okay. And that's usually the time frame we'll give. In that time, I've got to get an inspector out there. I'm diving into all of the rents, doing all the due diligence on taxes, insurance, making sure that the law includes everything they're saying it includes, making sure that we go through and say, all right, what kind of actual renovations are we going to need to do? What's our expense going to be? And for a lot of people, their due diligence is, guesstimates. Yeah. I'm literally calling my flooring guy and I'm saying, get in there, tell me what this is going to cost, give me the bid that I get to hold you to. Calling my paint guy saying, get in there, give me the bid. And what's cool about that is I've got all these people that are ready to go give me quick bids. So then I take their bids and I'm using that to get even more money off of the deal. Yeah. So in that 10-day period, I've done everything. And a lot of big organizations, they've got a team, and you're talking a lot bigger properties, so I'm sure there's more, but I crank through it, and then I always go back and say, here's what I found, I want it back from you, right? And we are so nitpicky, and it's not because we're bad humans or because we're trying to screw them. We're just trying to use what we have to get the best deal that we can. And so on a lot of these deals, I'm getting 20, 40, 60, 80 grand back at closing for all of the renovations I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the funny thing that people don't realize is, yeah, I negotiated the numbers so that I could spend that and be fine. But then I have that opportunity to go and say, these are all the bids that I need to get this back to running order. And the owner is thinking, crap, if I don't come through on this, maybe he's going to bail. I was thinking I could close in 30 days. Now I'm looking at maybe 90 days or 120 days before I get my money. And so not only have you built urgency, but now that urgency is working for you when you go and say, hey, I want more back in the deal.
Let me ask you this. How do you know if you have enough money to buy property? Because this is the situation I'm in. I'm thinking about buying a 30-unit building, which costs us about $3 million. If I finance it, I'm putting down 20%. Let's just say you also got closing costs. That's $750,000 to put down, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes the numbers make sense, but I have a balance of $250 left. But I know I got to go into the property, but it's going to cost me more than $250,000 to get it to where it needs to be to raise the rents to get that add value.
Right.
So is there like a cushion that you look at?
So for me, I want to have enough money to get the down payment, to do all of the renovations, and once all of that is finished, still have 6 months worth of mortgage reserves.
Okay.
That's where, and again, I'm a very, I want to limit my risk.
Yeah.
If you follow that, how are you going to get burned?
Yes.
You're not, right? Especially if you've gone in and you know exactly what you need to spend. Now, once I've done that, and I have that money set aside and I'm negotiating, then that portion you need for renovations, usually I'm getting 80 to 90% of that back at closing in cash.
Oh, wow.
So now that's not an expense for me. The other thing that's really cool about getting money back at closing in cash is you've got all these things you want to do on the property. You're not going to do all of those right then.
Yeah.
You've got people in 3-month leases, 6-month leases.
Yeah.
A lot of them for me usually are month to month, but you've always got that chunk of fixes you're going to need to do that you don't need to do until the tenant leaves.
Yeah.
But then you put your report together of all of those issues. So a lot of times, not only am I not using any of my money to make those fixes, but I'm getting, $60,000 back in closing, but I'm only spending $20,000 the first couple months I'm in there because a lot of these tenants, I can leave them in there. The other thing I'm doing is, yes, I'm adding value, but you're not going to go in and renovate it while you've got a tenant in there.
Yeah.
You're going to say, hey guys, these units are worth $850. If you stay, I'm going to leave you at $800. You're going to save $50 a month, or I'm going to leave you at $750. They're still getting a raise of $250 to $300, but they're getting a better deal than they would had I gone in and renovated the property. Now, they might say, screw you, we're leaving, or they might say, look, we've got this issue, this issue, this issue. Then I go in and fix the issues. And I say, all right, stay. We'll still give you $800, we'll fix the issues. Or you've got people that are just saying, you know what, I'm going to stay, I don't have any issues. Or you've got the people that say we're going to leave, and I'm like, awesome, we're going to go in, we're going to throw $5,000 at the property, and then we're going to list it for $900, $950, maybe $100, $150 more, or whatever more than we would have with you, and we're still in a great place. So you put them in the position where they get to choose, they get to do what's best for them and their family, but I win either way.